That was Corrin. Thanks for coming, brother.
Thanks for having me, bro.
It's a pleasure. I remember first time I met you, I thought you were 30. Yeah. And then it turns out you're only 20. Yeah. Oh, 19 at the time because it was last year.
Yeah.
You get that a lot, eh?
Yeah, no, a lot. Not often that I get the 30, but yeah, like 27, 26.
Yeah, for sure. Gets around. But pretty much your bread and butter is real estate.
Yep.
You've been doing it for 2 years now?
Yeah, about 2 years. Just over 2 years, yeah.
Just over 2 years. So where'd that all start?
To be honest, like we started out with, like while I was at school, I did like a school-based traineeship with another real estate agency, and it was only a one day a week thing.
Yep.
That ended up not going too well, and then I kind of put it on hold, wait to finish school, because I was only 16 at the time, turning 17, and then I was actually introduced to the owner of Ray White Gladstone through a teacher, and because she has actually taught him, and yeah, we actually set up a mock interview for an assignment, and actually went so well, like just from a fake interview, got a real job, and yeah, just got off on the right foot, and started out when I was 17, and then as soon as I turned 18, got my license.
Yep. So that's with Andrew Allen at Ray White Gladstone.
Yep.
And what's the team like been there for you? You
yeah,
guys got a few there.
It's been good. Started out on the rental side, doing reception, and like it's kind of it's very common in property management to have high turnover. So the team changed a lot there, but the culture I'd say has definitely improved. We've got a more cohesive team now. About I'd say 6 months in, I joined over to the sales team, and it's been the same ever since. We've added on another salesperson, but other than that, they're all been there, decade plus. And it's really good. It's a really good team. I think we work well together, and we often do actually work together on deals.
Yep. I was about to ask, is there much competition between each other?
Yeah, it's not nearly as much as other companies. Even within the Ray White group, there's certain branches that I've actually visited that have a very different culture. They're a lot more competitive with each other, and they have like what we call like a closed database, which means like say I meet you, and I just put you in my database and say Lachlan Blake owns 10 Smith Street, his phone number is X, his email address is X. Another agent in the same office could have your exact details, and like no one knows. We're talking to the same person. But within Ray White, it's different. It's more collaborative. Everyone is a bit more open. There's benefits and negatives, but I think we work really well, and it clearly shows that so much of the team has remained the same for so long. Yeah.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, that's great. It's always great to have a good bunch of people around you pushing you towards, and obviously a lot of them probably been mentors to you in a way.
Yeah, little bit. More so once you start doing your own stuff, because there's so much high turnover, you don't know if someone's going to be in the industry for very long. But yeah, no, now again, just the collaboration's really good, and learning, because there's always something new to learn in real estate, and having a colleague doing a deal that needs to have a new kind of problem solving, it's really cool because we have weekly team meetings and we just discuss those things. And so we all learn at the same pace. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. I guess, so you started in the rental on the front office, and then you've worked your way into sales.
Yep.
Getting that first listing on that first property.
Yep.
Was it a struggle, or did you find it easy?
Funnily enough, no. The first property I ever sold was actually someone else's listing. This is how collaborative we are. So it was one of my colleagues' listings, Julie, and I just found the buyer, and we sold it together.
Yep.
And then the next one was really hard. Yeah, there's a lot of conversations you have to have. So the first genuine listing, it was difficult. Yeah,
for sure. I guess what was that feeling like once you sold it? You would have been buzzing.
Where's the next one? Yeah, it's really just where's the next one? And because when you get the listing, you're not going to get paid for it for months. It could be 3 months until you get paid because it's under contract for 35 days. It's on market for 4 weeks. So you kind of just think, okay, well, I need to build up consistent pipeline. So it really wasn't the focus on, let's celebrate this one because I'm not going to get paid for it for a month. Yeah. There's nothing to celebrate with.
That's crazy because how it actually works with your, I guess what you charge, which is like your percentage rate.
Yep.
The seller will give you a percentage, which is your, whether it's like the 3 to 3.5%.
Yep.
Which way does it go? Do you send that coin to Raywire Corporate first and then it funnels down back to you?
It's all automated. Like I don't actually deal with any of that, but yeah, essentially like what happens is, depends on the solicitor's process, but they're all pretty standard. And so they essentially allocate certain funds to like marketing, for example. They can pay that at settlement as well. And then also commission. And then that automatically goes to us. And then that just kind of automatically goes to Ray White Corporate. Yeah. Yep.
And starting off, because you were so young, only 17, first when fresh 18, straight into it. What's it like dealing with clients? Like, because you're so young and they're working with a young agent and they probably got thoughts like, oh, he's got no idea what he's doing. Have you felt that pressure?
Luckily, no. I like before I got into sales, I had a lot of like role play around questions about my age, but it doesn't really come up because a lot of people think I'm much older than I am. So it's not really a problem. It's more so getting the start from you start from zero. That's the problem. Even if you're, 40, if you have no reviews, you have no client testimonials, you've got no listings to leverage. That's the difficult thing. And then once you get your first one, it's pretty fine.
Yep.
I've had it happen like once when I shaved. Like someone was like, "Oh, you're young. How long have you been in it?" But that was a buyer, so it's not even. Yeah, it's not really a problem for me. Yeah.
Yep, for sure. And I guess once you get that first listing, are you chasing referrals straight away to get those testimonials behind you?
Yeah. So it's sometimes I forget, but it's really good to have those every time I sell a property. Once it settles, because there's actually a difference between when it technically sells and when it settles. It goes unconditional and it's pretty much sold. But then at settlement and the client's really happy with the result, which is usually the case, I then get a review from them. Yeah.
So once you got that first listing in your first year, if you don't mind sharing, like how many properties did you sell? And then
yeah, good question. I don't remember exact numbers, but probably about 25, 28, something like that. Yeah. Okay. Within first year.
And from there, did you, at the end of the year, sit back and then set yourself some goals for the future year?
Definitely. Yep. Definitely. So coming into this next year, the second year of sales, really had a look at my business and kind of looked at the bottlenecks specifically. And the main one was just process. Because like if you can't list property, you can't sell property. And so you got to create a good process to just get them online. And that's kind of where my focus has gone. So it's really about just setting basic performance KPIs, making sure that you're on track with those. Some of which are unrealistic and you need to change them because of the market that you're in. Like there are going to be things that you're going to have to shift. Things that come up that you have no idea. Like you just can't expect it in real estate. Every day is different. Yep. So you have to change those. But yeah, just basic performance indicators and make sure you're hitting those goals.
Yep. What do you find the best way to get leads or find clients?
I'd say it's all relationships. The most important thing for me is to develop the relationship with the client. My job is not actually to sell property. It's to assist in any way I can on the real estate side of things. So for years, I've still got clients right now that haven't sold yet that I still communicate with, and I come from a place of trying to provide value, and genuinely help them out rather than just being selfish and what we call com breath. You know, if you're talking to someone, you just get the sense you've spoken to people before, they just want something from you. But I come from a place of I'll give. And then when you need my help, you need my help.
So I guess skills when it comes to real estate agent, that's obviously one. You got to be able to give, and being charismatic. Do you think that plays a major role?
I certainly think so. You can. There's certain people in real estate that aren't necessarily the most charismatic, but they're genuinely lovely people, and they do extremely well because they also work very hard. A lot of real estate is just doing numbers. There's plenty of this like pretty stuff that we do, all the videos and, you know, driving the nice cars, whatever. But when it comes down to it, if you're not doing the work, you're not making the money. And if you're not taking care of people, you're not making the money.
So with real estate, what are the major pros and cons when it comes to the game?
I'd say the major cons is the misconceptions about the industry. When people go, and again, this is why the turnover is so high. I think it's something like 60 or 70% of people within their first year leave real estate and go to something else. And the big reason why is, like I was saying before, people get into it expecting this lavish lifestyle. You get to chill out, lounge back and, you know, be on the phone all day and just talk to people, drive around, look at houses. Oh, that's a pretty house. It's not like that at all. It's a lot of communication. It's a lot of, you know, conversations that you might not want to have. And especially with selling property, because once you get to that point, you realize there's other conversations that you don't want to have. For example, submitting an offer. You know, if someone wants to make an offer that, you know, the owner doesn't want to take, unfortunately, we have to legally submit it. You know, we have to provide that information. And yeah, it can be very difficult and a lot of people can't do it. Yeah.
Yep. Well, I guess what would be the pros then?
Pros, it's probably one of the best jobs out there. And like, I'll clarify, it's definitely a job. It's kind of your business, but it's really not. In terms of working your own hours, and funnily enough, when people hear that, they go, oh, I can work less. But no, you end up working way more. It's just more convenient for you. That means like you can still work extremely hard and get rewarded for it. Again, taking care of people means you'll get paid more. But then that also means you get to spend a lot of time with your family, which is really important to me. Spending, you know, time with close mates, you know, setting aside that time for the people that you love is really important. And in real estate, you can do that because you can shift your timetable around. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I guess it is kind of like time freedom.
Yeah.
You have the choice.
Yep.
But it's also a lot of weekends and
yes,
there's a lot of unseen work that.
Yes.
You know,
yeah. Time freedom does not mean you don't work. It means you work more or you leave the industry. And it is different with different companies as well. Because like with us, it's more so if you don't sell, there's a problem.
Yep.
But for me, yeah, it's more so get the right amount of property sold, and then you're on track pretty much.
Yep. Well, I guess who would be the best people suited for real estate? If you were to, you know, I guess put a idea around who would be best suited for real estate.
Who would that be? Yep. Good question. I would just have to say really basic stuff, you know, someone that's willing to work hard, someone that's really keen and just biting, you know, wanting to do something, because a lot of people nowadays, they're not doing anything. They just sit at home playing video games, doing nothing. And trust me, that was me for a little bit. During high school, I did not do well in that environment. I had like 30% attendance. I was failing a lot of classes. I actually dropped out of high school to do real estate. And it was because I was biting at something to do, but that something to do was not school. And so people that are looking for something different, people that are looking for a little bit more accountability and responsibility, that's the perfect person because they will just run with it.
It's almost like with everything. I feel with everything, like everyone try to look so deep into it, but they're looking too far. And they just need to take a step back and just look at the basics that are right in front of you.
Yep.
You know, the idea of working hard, just having good communication skills, you know, always responding quickly back to clients. Like everybody likes to feel like, you know, they're seen in a way.
They're providing something.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
And like, you know, this agent's not like taking the piss out of me. He's actually taking my property very seriously and just trying to get the best price for me, which is, I guess, that's the goal of real estate.
Yes.
Because one, obviously you guys get a bit more coin for it, but two, you know, the seller in general, if it's coming home for an extra 10, 20 grand, you know, that's massive.
Yeah. It changes lives.
100%.
Yeah.
I want to get into why is there such a massive crisis going on with rent at the moment? It seems like, I think it has been said that Australia is one of the most expensive countries in the world to live in, especially when it comes to housing. Why is this problem happening, and why is it on the incline, or is it going to eventually get to a point where, you know, things relax a little?
Great question. It's obviously way more complicated than I'm going to be able to describe, but the basic of it is just supply and demand. Unfortunately, especially since COVID, we've seen a decline in available rentals. And so that's just basically going to shoot up the price if the same amount of people, if not more, which we're seeing a lot of people come into Australia. If we're seeing the same, if not more people fighting over the same rentals, that's going to drive up prices. And then on top of that, there's a lot of legislation coming in that just is making it less attractive for investors to invest. Things that just simply cut into their returns means that the renters, you know, even though it's trying to empower the renters, it means that there's less available rental homes. And so it hurts them even more. And so that's why specifically in Gladstone, we've seen almost a double in pricing for rental properties. Average is over $400 now per week. And I just don't know how it's going to stay like that. But yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to just see unfold. And it's funny to say because that's cheap for a lot of places. Like that's the crazy thing. We are cheap compared to a lot of places, even on the sales side of things. But it has been a big shift and very quickly, really quickly.
Well, I guess if you have cash on your hands and you have, you know, money to spend, do you think it's a good time to invest into real estate?
I'd say so. Yeah, definitely. I mean, time will make everyone geniuses in real estate. But with Gladstone specifically, like we're over $100,000, like about $100,000 cheaper than Rockhampton, Butterberg, Mackay, of course, Harvey Bay as well. And we're an attractive coastal town. A lot of work's available. A lot of young families with this disposable income. So I definitely do think that we will. I mean, we almost always see an increase in pricing, but we are still, just looking at the numbers, we're still really cheap. That's why I bought myself. That's why I still think it's a good time for people to buy, but it's also a good time for people to sell because they're finally able to get a good price and the price that they've been looking for years.
Over the next 5 to 10 years then, what do you think the market's going to look like?
Oh, I don't have a crystal ball.
If you want to take a bit of a guess, what would be your...
Well, looking at the investment that's coming in, you know, there's a lot of buy agent activity, a lot of interstate investors. Oftentimes, they're having meetings down in Sydney in offices that people in Gladstone have no idea about. So then you just have these seminars of people saying, go buy in Gladstone, go buy in Gladstone. And then the locals get shafted. They're like, what's going on here? The house I paid $200,000 in 2018 is now $450,000. How does that make any sense? So I think we'll see that increase. 5-10 years is a long time. 5-10 years is a long time. It's going to go by fast, but you know, there's also some hydrogen talks, solar wind farms, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of things happening. That usually means price increasing. Yeah.
we're seeing that a lot in Central Queensland, that a lot of people from Sydney and Melbourne are buying properties up here. They're cashing in a lot of coin and able to just buy 2-3 properties off that.
Yep.
It's crazy.
That's right. Median house pricing down Sydney way, well over the $1 million. Median house pricing here, 380, 400.
Yeah, I believe Sydney's 1.2 mil.
Yeah.
Crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, it's insane. The fact that so many baristas and service station workers live there, and that's the median house price. Like, that's just crazy to think about.
I know we touched on before, like who would be the perfect person for real estate? I guess what you need. What would be your advice for people wanting to get into real estate? They can be either still in school, early 20s, or even just, in their 30s, 40s. What would be your advice to get into it? Like, what would be your step-by-step process?
I'd say jump into it and do the hard things. A lot of the things that you see, again, is really pretty. It looks really nice, and that's what you want to do. Pulling up in the Ferrari, checking out a $5 million house. Like that's all well and good, but you're not there yet. So you need to do like just numbers, letterbox drops, direct mail, send like price drive letters, whatever, to investors. Let them know what's going on in the market. They want to know. Call people. Like it's insane to me how little. I mean, it is terrifying. It sucks. A lot of people will say, "Mate, don't talk to me. Get away from me." But it's just a numbers game. And if you genuinely come at it, like, I seriously think it's all about intent. If you come at it from a place of like genuine love, and you're looking to provide for your own family, people will see that and they'll genuinely appreciate it, and they'll do business with you, and they'll be repeat customers. They'll refer you. So I genuinely believe it's as basic as do the numbers and take care of people. That's what I learned from Julie Wood. She's now retired, kind of. She was an amazing real estate agent, and she just cared for people. Yeah, and so people would just come back to her, and she was just known for that.
You just got to have that hustle and that grind.
Yeah.
But with the highs comes the lows. For you, how have you dealt with them? And have there been times where you just wanted to give up real estate?
I've never gotten to the point where I want to give up real estate. And I think the important thing for me and the big shift for me was God. For the longest time, I was vehemently atheist, as you know. But then just looking at it I just looked at the world and went, okay, there's so much evil here. There has to be good. And then I started, talking with God, and I would ask him for challenges, and you enjoy them because I don't know my Bible, but somewhere in there, it talks about enjoying and having joy for challenges because it brings you a kind of endurance for that specific thing. Same way I looked at my injury. Every time a property falls over or has a building and pest issue, whatever, I just go, this is God testing me. It means I need to improve on something. And that's been extremely helpful for me. And it's been an amazing experience to go from where I was being a bit complacent, thinking I'm everything, I'm the top G, but then just, humbling myself. Yeah.
For sure. I'd love to touch on God a bit later. But with real estate, obviously, because you all have your commission rates, like it tends to be around that 3%, low to even high 3% mark.
Yeah.
Would you say for a real estate agent in a rural area where obviously like that's where the median price is only 380, would it be a smart decision if you're looking to making a bit more coin to move somewhere like Sydney where the median price is 1.2 million and you're still getting that, low 3% commission? Would that be a great move to accumulate more wealth?
It really depends on the person. I think if you love living there, it's worth it. Like, live where you want to live. That's why I live here. Sure, there's more opportunity, but there's also way more competition. And so it's like everybody else is looking at it the same way. Sure, there's a lot of people that live there. It's, extremely expensive housing, so you're going to get good commission. But then there's also a lot of competition. And we just call it shark territory. Like everybody, it's just free for all. It's crazy down there.
True.
Crazy. Yeah. So I do, like here, we have really good relationships with the other agents, you know, we all know each other. We all know what we do. And a lot of the times, you know, the person that will go with me won't go with the other person and vice versa. That's, you know, difference of personalities. Yeah.
I guess down there, you're going to be competing against the best, literally.
100%.
And it's going to be hard unless you have a bit of skills behind yourself and you do have testimonials. It's probably a bit harder to start down in Brisbane and Sydney ways, you reckon?
Yep. I'd say, speaking from just who I know down there, it's more difficult, but it's also, again, it's the way you look at the challenge. If you appreciate the challenge, you will become a lot better for it. And it will be an extremely rewarding process. I definitely don't believe in taking the easy way out. Don't move somewhere because you think it's going to be easier. It won't be. Real estate isn't easy. It's not going to be easy anywhere. It might be for a short period of time during an amazing boom like we are experiencing right now. But in the long run, it's only the good agents that survive. So just become a good agent wherever you are.
Yeah, for sure. We'll step away a little bit from the
Yep.
real estate agency.
Yep.
You started first in Brisbane. That's where you were born.
Yeah, I was born in Brizzy, Woodridge, actually. Terrible area.
Is that north?
I've got no clue.
Oh, true.
So I'm not well versed in the geography of Brisbane. It always confused me. But yeah, wherever I was born in Brizzy, spent, I think it was 2 years only in Brisbane, in Woodridge. My brothers, their stories are a little bit more insane because they can remember things. But yeah, at that time it was a really, really bad area to live. And we were just poor. We couldn't go anywhere else.
Yep.
But yeah, and then I moved on to Mackay. We all moved up there. And that's where I spent most of my schooling years.
Yep. So just to clarify, you're the youngest of four.
Youngest of 4 brothers, and then I've got one sister to the same father, and then there's 2 other daughters as well. So it's three daughters, 4 sons, and I'm the youngest of the sons. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And the tallest.
So how'd you find moving to Mackay? Obviously, it's been the longest. Obviously, living in Mackay is all you really remember.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in Mackay?
Again, we were really poor, so we only engaged with pretty degenerate communities, unfortunately. But no, it was actually a really good way to just learn to talk to anyone, because you don't know who you're going to meet that day. Like, because we walked from, you know, bus stop, probably a couple kilometers to home, and you would just walk through some pretty sketchy areas. And yeah, no, you would just have to learn communicate with people very calmly. So yeah, no, it was never a problem really. But yeah, it was interesting, but I definitely prefer living here.
And you've moved here. It's only been recent years though.
2020. Yep. Moved here right before COVID. And yeah, 2020 with my 2 sisters at the time and mum. And then Lachlan, my brother, he moved here probably 6 months after that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
For sure. I guess coming from a family where you weren't the best off, you did grow up in, you know, not the most fortunate neighborhoods in that.
Mm.
Has that been a massive motivator for you when it comes to accumulating wealth and like striving in real estate?
I'd say so. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like to look at it too much. I don't think it's a problem at all. You know, my mum was the most amazing presence in my life. She really took care of us. I don't feel underprivileged at all. I've felt very privileged. You know, even with our situation, she put me through like representative basketball. You know, I could compete, and that really grew that competition and drive. And yeah, and she was amazing. She really helped.
Yep. Going through the tough times.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And is that kind of like also she'd been has she been a massive contribution to, I guess, your go?
Yeah, no, I'm keen to eventually buy her a house. She's just, she's something else. She's amazing. Like I said, always taking care of us, and sure, no one's perfect, but she always had amazing intentions, and she did amazing for being a single mum for most of the time. Single mum with 5 very annoying, very hungry kids.
Yeah. Well, he's all pretty big boys.
Yeah.
Like you yourself, you're 6'5", so
yeah,
hitting your head on doors everywhere you go. But
no, we're all very, very hungry. That's for sure. We drank our milk.
And I guess, like you said, basketball, was that a bit of your sport growing up?
Yeah, I actually got into that pretty late, probably around like 9 years old, but I was playing with my brother in the same, I was about to say weight class. I'm used to one time, playing in the same age bracket. So like under 12s or whatever. And being so young, competing against like older guys, boys, young boys, but being, competing against the older grades, that was very helpful. Because you just have a different standard. You're playing against the best in the next age bracket. So then when I was kind of forced to play in my own age, it was a bit more. I wouldn't say easy, but it was a different standard. Yeah.
Yep. How far did you take your basketball career?
Not long. I have a lot of like lower body problems. I actually just, did my ACL. Talk about that later. But only went to represent Mackay essentially. Yeah, just represent Mackay.
And just went state championships.
Yep, that's right. Yep.
Basics. With your ACL, you did do that playing basketball, was it? Trying to get back into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just mucking around.
Yeah.
And at first, which is the crazy part, which I know is when he eventually got checked up for it, they didn't know how you were walking.
Yeah, so first game back from another injury, I jumped up to grab a lob. I jumped the highest I ever have. And then I just landed straight on it. And so it hyperextended. And it was probably like the worst pain I've ever felt, but it was bearable. I was like, it shouldn't be that bad. Walked, hobbled over to the bench. And that night I was just in agony. Went to the hospital. They were like, something's wrong. Got to get an MRI. Again, like within about a week, I was walking. I was doing everything normally I could drive, whatever. I then had the MRI, talked to my doctor, and it turns out full ACL tear. Full ACL, like there's nothing there. And he said, how you feeling? I said, not that bad. I don't know how it's a tear. And he was just blown away that I was walking. Yeah. My roommates at the time, actually, they kept telling me, nah, it's not an ACL tear. Nah, it can't be. I've had mates and they're not walking for months. But it was only until, you don't really know. Some of those things are pretty inaccurate. So by the time they actually opened my knee up, they're like, yes, it's an ACL tear and it's also a meniscus tear as well. So they had to do both of those. Yeah.
2 in 1.
Yeah, 2 in 1, yeah.
How's that been with obviously real estate? You have to drive everywhere, you have to walk everywhere. What's this challenge been like for you? And do you feel like, has this been a challenge that God's given you?
Definitely. Yeah. No, I asked him for something, and this hadn't been, like I said, like I've dealt with small lower body stuff, but this was a big injury for me. And I asked him for a challenge, and it was a new challenge. But to be honest, on the work side of things, it's more of a challenge for my brother. He's driving me around and stuff. Brought him onto the team, and he's driving me around. So it's more of a problem for him.
And obviously that medication, feeling a bit doozy and all that.
Yeah, yep.
And having to deal with all the emotions and that.
Yep.
But coming out of it now, it's probably done you good and you're going to be a lot stronger now.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate it. But those painkillers, like some like low strength opioids, you know, and they really mess with your ability to control things. And so you're extremely irritable. You're just very impulsive and you just say things. So I said, let's not do a podcast yet.
That's right. Had to push back a few weeks.
Yeah. But now that I'm off that, you know, the knee's feeling good, physio's going well, and I'm not having that frustrating experience of just, you know, I don't think that kind of thing. And yeah, coming out of the other side of it, I feel better. I feel stronger, and it's, I'm very appreciative of the opportunity. Yeah.
Sure. And since I've known you, I think it was October last year we first met.
That sounds about right, yeah.
And it was in that stages that I was just turning to God fully as well, going to church. And you were starting to take the same path as well. How's that journey been for you on a personal level?
It's been one of the most amazing things in my life. Learning to become open has been like, it was very difficult. And to be honest, I didn't become open to go to religion, you know, to go to Christianity. I looked at myself, I looked at my views and opinions. I was like, this is just ridiculous. I'm a 19-year-old with such, you know, vehement beliefs. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know the world. So I just started to become a little bit more open. And then I looked at the world and went, crikey, there's a lot of pain and suffering and evil things, genuinely evil things. And I don't think you can believe in evil without believing in genuine good. And so I started thinking, all right, what's this whole God thing? I just started to try to talk to him. I still don't do very well with it, but I then started to go to church as well, in Boyne. And then you introduced me to your church as well, and that's been amazing as well. Like just an genuinely amazing community and family environment. Yeah.
You've always believed in a higher power, I guess, in a way, but you never subscribed to one religion.
No, I actually didn't. For a long time, I didn't believe in any higher power. I took my grandfather's belief, which I love that man. He's awesome. And unfortunately we now disagree. But yeah, I was vehemently atheist for a very long time. And then I started to it happened really quick, but it also kind of didn't. It was a pretty progressive thing. And then I started to believe in that higher power. You know, what else is here? There has to be someone else. There has to be something else. And then I started learning more and more about the Catholic Church and just what they do, and the Bible, started reading the Bible, and my faith has just grown. It just keeps growing every day.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Reading the Bible for me, you know, it's almost like just in every way, it has an impact on your life, whether it's even real estate or entrepreneurship. You know, I've seen someone on a video once, he was asked, what is the one book that you would refer to anyone when it comes towards entrepreneurship? And he said, other than Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, the Bible. There's all the answers are in the Bible, and they are. It's just unreal. And I would recommend anyone, whether you're deep into religion or not, or if you're deep in religion, you've obviously already read the Bible and Quran, whatever. But if you are atheist, just pick up the Bible and just start from the New Testament, which is where we've both started from, and just go from there and just look at it from a point of view of just not being judgmental and just give it time. And there'll be things that start to pop up. And even from a religious point of view, it's just every day, just look at the world at it with a different lens. Like it can even just be one like parable and it just blows your mind. And I'm guessing you've had the exact same experience. Like how many pages are you in personally?
In the New Testament, I think only about 15 or so, like not much at all. not much at all, and you still see so much. Yeah, the crazy thing for me is, you would read other books, and don't get me wrong, they're great, they're amazing, they've got some good content in there, but then you read the Bible and you're just like, why do I need that? Some of which is going to be more applicable to specific jobs or, specific investment stuff and whatever. But as a way to live life, the Bible is such an amazing, amazing way to live. It's a great guideline.
So I guess, like you said, you were struggling earlier with communicating with God. What's that process been like? Like at first, was it you almost like forcing yourself to do it because it's what everyone was telling you?
Yeah.
And then over time, it's starting to become easy. Have you heard him yet, or still something?
I feel like I have, and like it's not in so many words, but you ask for something and you just immediately feel it. I had to learn that it's not really, for me personally, it's not really what I say. It's all about my heart, because God knows what you want before you ask. And so you just have to speak from the heart. And through that, that's really helped me in my communication, because communicating with you and I, between us is very different to communicating with God and having a collaboration with God and having a relationship with God. It's very different. So you have to learn to have a different kind of relationship. It's a rare one, there's nothing else like it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Now that you've brought God into your life and you're working on your relationship with him and you're also striving with real estate at the same time, what are your goals for the future? Where are you aiming? Are you wanting to stay in the real estate vehicle, or you want to eventually jump out and move on to something else?
Yeah, good question. I certainly have been struggling with the concept of putting God above everything else, because I'm still so used to my earthly way. But for right now, it is just about trying to be the best man I can be. And a good way that I can consistently do that, just consistently live like that, is think, what would my kids want me to look like? And what would my future wife want me to look like? And so that's just kind of how I act. And that is in everything I do. It's not just real estate. It's not just God. It's in the way that you live. So with anything, it's just, how can I be the best? Simple as that. And that right now still applies to real estate. Real estate is everything to me right now. And God, see, I'm struggling. But real estate's still very important, and it's a way for me to provide for my family. And it's been able to be very, very successful, being able to bring on my brother as well. He was my associate. Now he's going to be doing his own listings now as well. So that's very exciting for him.
It's great.
And it's just such a great feeling to be able to provide that platform for your team, your squad. So yeah, I love that feeling.
Family is massive to you. And I know you've already said you're ready to have a family now of your own.
Yeah.
And is that what drives you as well? Is that another
Certainly.
massive motivator?
I think that's everything. That's the only reason men do anything. For me personally, I just, things will take time, and that's fine. But it's about just putting yourself in a position where you're ready no matter what. And you just constantly learn and accept that even when you start to have a family, even in basic ways with your brothers, you've got your team, but there's still going to be things for you to learn. You're not finished. You're never finished. And so realizing that I have so much to learn allowed me to focus on the right things and genuinely just keep learning, keep pushing, and keep providing. Yeah.
How much is health? I know we've been talking about it a lot, how important your health is.
Very important. I certainly put a big emphasis on health, and I think you can't be wealthy, or at least it doesn't matter if you're wealthy if you're not healthy. You're not going to be around for your family for very long. And it's also it's not about being around your family or around anything or just doing anything for the longest period of time. It's also getting quality time and doing quality things. And for me, you cannot be the best version without eating the best things. And I understand it's very expensive, especially right now. Inflation is ridiculous, but for me personally, it's really important to invest in that because it is an investment. Without that, I feel drowsy, eating a lot of carbs, I just feel crap and down. And I actually had to start eating carbs to gain weight post-surgery because I was just losing too much weight, but I still feel crap. You still feel when you wake up, you're not ready to go. You want to stay in bed. It really affects your mind. You're just cloudy. But on what I was doing, which is, also what I'm now doing again, is just meat and fruit. That is just unreal. Yeah, it just makes you feel sharp, quick, decisive, strong.
I think they call it the ancestral diet.
Oh yeah,
it's definitely growing.
Okay.
I know I was talking to you about it, and something that I've taken on, and I'll recommend to anyone.
Yeah.
You're not getting those, midday crashes or afternoon crashes where you're feeling to have that little nap.
100%. And just try it because different people are genuinely different. So different things will work and you can't have certain things. So that's fair enough, but just try it, for a period of time. If you feel good on it, keep doing it. There are certain risks, if you're just having red meat, then there's certain risks of like bowel cancer, that kind of stuff. But like to me, I'd much rather feel really good right now and, also build my diet to help that and make sure that I'm healthy around that as well. Make sure that there are natural supplements to really create a very well-rounded diet. And that's what I've seen with, eating a lot of chicken, eating a lot of beef, but also fruits, anything that's as unprocessed as possible.
With you mentioned you've bought a property last year as well.
Yeah.
What's your game plan that you're looking at buying a property every year from now on using equity or?
Again, like everything will change, but that's a basic plan. Like just try and get as many as possible. Get ones that are cheap. A lot of people don't want to buy houses that need paint, that need carpets, that need, whatever. So get those things that, you can potentially do yourself. I'm now realizing how little time I have. I can't do it myself, but get those things that just need those basic cosmetic things and then utilize the equity to purchase the next one and get some investment, get a rental portfolio.
What are the key things you should look at when buying a property? Is it location? Is it the layout of the house, the size of the property? What are the key attributes you look at?
I'd say location's obviously a huge one. Facilities near it. Structural integrity is a huge one. You don't want to be investing in something that will be an absolute money pit. So do your research. Certain things like council approval, there can be a lot of properties, especially around here, that don't have council approval. So just look out for those things. But largely, I genuinely believe if you enjoy it, if you like the home, you're going to want to love it and nurture it into this beneficial thing. So I'd say start out by doing what you love. Some people love stocks. I don't, but some people do. And that's, that can be very lucrative and very successful for them. Again, if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to put time into it and you're not going to appreciate it. So do something you love.
And you also recommended when buying a property, in the process you went through, is go through a brokerage.
Yeah. They, a loan broker, mortgage broker, sorry, they were extremely helpful for me. Even as a real estate agent, knowing what I know on the finance side of things, it's a completely different ballgame and you need to know which lenders to work with. With Gladstone specifically, we had a big crash a decade ago. And so many of the banks put an X on the 4680 postcode. And so if you are to go with them, if you bank with one of the big boys, they might just want, rather than 10%, they'll want 20, 30% deposit. And it's just not worth it. So you need to be able to have that conversation with a lot of different lenders. And a mortgage broker really helped me out.
Just step into your little hobbies in that, or one of yours is your love for motors, your bikes, your cars.
Yep.
You're a bit of a daredevil on the motorbike there.
Yeah, I love my cars and motorcycles, that's for sure.
Where'd that passion come from?
I have no idea. I just remember my dad would always say, from the earliest age, I would just be playing with the monster trucks and, cars, toys, that kind of stuff. And I've always been in love with the design of them. I'll be driving. Don't tell anyone this, but I'll be driving and I just look at all the cars, even the boring SUVs. I like looking at them. Same thing with motorcycles. They're just some can be very ugly, but a lot of them are just beautiful shapes and very, very interesting that it came from someone's mind and it has this performance application, but then also beauty. It's this amazing point where beauty and practicality and utility all meet in one. Yeah.
One of the problems of having such a passion for vehicles and that is getting too attached to materialistic things.
Yep.
How are you balancing that?
It was difficult. It was really difficult. And being in, I'm extremely appreciative of the position I'm in, being able to do certain things and have access to certain things. But then also being in a position where you can buy your dream motorcycle or your dream car and making the decision not to do that, that's difficult. I ended up making that decision and not purchasing those things because I have other priorities. Why would I buy that? This is how I look at it. Why would I buy that thing, that Maserati? Why would I buy that Maserati when I don't have a child yet? When I haven't been able to provide fully for my family, I couldn't justify it. And so I decided to just buy it cash, a cheap car cash. It looks good enough for real estate and it just gets me around. But I still found something that is fun and you can modify a little bit. It's a fun little car. So, yeah.
Because you previously did have the Mazda 3, which is a great car.
Yeah. You've got one now too.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely downsized them out of the four-wheel drive league.
Yep.
Well, I still have it currently, but I want to get rid of it. Just get that cash in the bank. But yeah, they're great. Like you had the Mazda 3 and then you eventually just sold it to your grandpa. Like you said, to get more cash in your bank to invest elsewhere. Yeah,
that's it. And the funny thing is, for most people, the Mazda 3 is a cheap car. That's I bought it brand new, big mistake. But for a lot of people, that's a cheap car. For me, I just looked at it as debt. Yes, it's a car. Well, that's it. It's a car, but it's also really nice to look at. It's actually a really genuinely nice car, but it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. The amount of interest that you have to pay, especially being a 20-year-old guy, insurance and interest rates, all that stuff is more expensive at my age. So why would I waste that money when I can invest it into something else that then can pay for the thing that I actually want? The Maserati. Yeah.
I guess also there's also the path you can take, which I'm looking at taking, is leasing a vehicle. Which is because one, you're not tied down with it.
Yeah.
You're just paying a dealership or whatever so much cash for over a 2-year period, then you can just knock it off and get a brand new vehicle. If you want to get out of the country, you don't have to worry about.
Yes.
Which is what I'm already discovering, trying to sell everything that I don't need anymore. It's just time. We're only 21. Or 20 for yourself.
Yeah.
And, older people in their 50s, you got so much time, but one thing I'm understanding already, being an entrepreneur and going full self-employed, is just like how valuable it is and like how quickly it slips away. The idea that you buying, you know, whether it be the Ferrari or the Porsche or that mansion or that jazz, it doesn't make you a better person.
Yeah.
And it's not going to give you the satisfaction that you believe it is. You know, you might get that dopamine rush for maybe a day or a week, but eventually it's going to die off and you're going to be looking for the next big thing. So I feel like for a lot of people, which is what I'm understanding, and religion's been a massive part in helping me understand that, and the mentors that both you and I have around us, try not to drown yourself in the idea of buying all these toys. You know, they're great to have, they're great to look at. The feeling, like for yourself, like you want that Ferrari and that, and it's because of your passion and love for that. But at the same time, just don't drown yourself in it.
Yes. Yep. The way that and we've talked about this before, the way that I look at it is picture yourself on an island. You know, you have everything you need there. What are you going to be driving? Because no one's around, no one's looking at you. And for me, I would still choose the Ferrari just because they are amazing works of art. Sure, I'd still probably have the Toyota to get me around, be reliable, whatever, but I would still have that amazing piece of art in the driveway. But don't get it too soon. It's going to restrict you. It's not worth it for me. And you get so much satisfaction out of spending time with your loved ones. It just doesn't make sense to waste your money and therefore your time as well, working to pay for this thing that is going to put you in a whole world of headaches, and yeah, it's just not worth it.
Do you still believe you should keep those goals in mind to push you? Is
I
it
think
something
so.
you do?
I genuinely think so. Yeah, I do think that there's certain things that you should have just to keep your focus there, because it can easily become a moving goalpost. You achieve that one goal and then you're on to the next and the next and the next, and you're just never there. And so that's where I really appreciated God in my life, because he gives you so much satisfaction. Got nothing else to say.
I guess to add on to that, don't feel guilty though as well for purchasing those things. You know, if you truly feel like that, you know, it's something that you love and will make your life better, go for it.
Yeah.
And don't feel guilt of people around you who are less better off.
Yeah.
You know, don't feel guilt in it, like that's your hard work there.
Yeah.
It's your fault. It was your fault that you were able to purchase that vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah. People live different lives. You know, I'm not trying to live his or hers, or, you know, they're not trying to live mine. So just live your own life and just try to look at it as accurately as possible and go, yeah, this is genuinely going to make me happy. Go do it then. Go do it.
What books do you recommend?
Bible.
I keep asking to recommend everything for some reason.
Definitely.
What do you recommend?
Yeah.
The Bible for
I'm
sure.
the guru.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the Bible.
I guess other than the Bible, because a lot of people, unfortunately, and I don't blame people, because once I was like, I've always believed in a high power, but obviously didn't just subscribe to Christianity. For people that, you know, don't want to read the Bible, and that's completely fine, what are 3 books do you think that have helped you with your personality skills?
48 Laws of Power. That's a really good one.
It's a very controversial one as well.
It is. I'm of the mind that you should become as strong and as capable as possible. And I found that the stronger you get, the stronger your morals get as well. It's weak people that hurt other people. So I genuinely believe become strong, become capable. So I think that's a fantastic book. And it's one where you can pick and choose what you want to read. You don't need to go, it's a big book. You know, for me, I'm not a reader. But you don't need to go from first page to last page strictly. You can pick and choose what you'd like to read and are most interested in. So 48 Laws of Power is a really good one. Psychology of Money, that was a phenomenal book for me. Yeah. It was just a really good way to shift your perspective on the way that normal people just look at money. I genuinely believe that looking at it from a psychological point of view rather than just this mathematical thing is a mistake. Like just you cannot look at it as just maths, because our emotions are so heavily tied with money. And that was a really good book to just showcase that. And then also Meditations. That's by Marcus Aurelius. Like that is always been one just to revisit. And the fact that he's talking to himself in it, it wasn't meant for publication.
It's unreal though.
You get a really good view at someone's mind when they didn't think that it was going to be public. It's
crazy Stoicism, like some of the philosophies have been around before the Bible.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. That's insane to think about.
And for them to have that mindset in that day and age, like some of the philosophies, like I myself are reading Seneca at the moment.
Yeah.
Like I'm only like 15 philosophies in. Same thing. It's just like reading the Bible, just the perspective and the different point of view and the lens you view the world in after. It's just mind blowing. And these are just simple books. Like you only need to read one law a day.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of people get caught up in that they see the size of the books.
Yeah.
I feel like that definitely puts off a lot of people.
Yep. It happened to me. I only recently started reading again and I still have trouble with it. You look at a book and go, oh, that's way too much. I can't do that.
Yeah.
But it's just bite-sized. Just have a little bit at one time. And I'm a big believer of not reading too much. It's the same. It's not nearly as bad, but it's similar to watching a bunch of YouTube content. It just goes in and out. You just forget it. At least for me, you just forget it. You know, a long time ago, we would have conversations and then it was books and then it was the podcast. And then you had to watch TikTok while you're watching the podcast. You had to listen to music while you watch TikTok, while you listen to the podcast. Like it's just getting to a point where it's extremely difficult to focus. So get one book that's great. 48 Laws of Power is amazing. Even a few powers and focus on them. If you do that, if you master them, man, you're going to be unreal.
The things around 48 Laws of Power as well is a lot of people get twisted thinking it's a book of manipulation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's not. Like the idea of the 48 Laws of Power is, yes, you summon them to your will, but also learn about how to defend from others who are using those powers against you, which are seen as, I guess, or the ones that are mistaken as manipulation. Well, they are manipulation, but
yeah,
you got to take it from the point of view as it's actually a teaching of how to defend yourself.
Yes, awareness. It actually genuinely brings awareness to certain things that I would never even thought of. So it's a very powerful book to arm yourself. And again, some people are more idealistic. They think, why would I go to Muay Thai? Why would I do that? I'm not going to get mugged statistically, but then it happens. People get mugged. Protect yourself from it. It's better to be capable. I heard this on a podcast and someone said it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. And I just live by that. Be prepared.
True.
Yeah.
You're definitely a lot more relaxed in many situations. You know, Joe Rogan, I think that did come from Joe Rogan himself.
Yeah. Yep. That
and he even talks about himself like, imagine what it'd be like to walk into a bar and you just have no fighting skills. You know, for me, like obviously I just didn't know what that was like until I started Muay Thai last year. But it's so true. Imagine being those athletes, like how much more.
I mean, we don't walk into bars anymore.
Definitely. But like just how much the stress would be on those shoulders. Like,
and
it's just one of those things like you being very confident in defending yourself in a situation where you might get mugged.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's one less stress that you relieve yourself from, like when you're walking through the streets or. And what I'm trying to go with this is like the less you can have in your mind, you can put that energy towards improving yourself.
Yeah, Yeah, I also believe that improving your physical capabilities improves your mental capabilities, but then also improves your ability to achieve more and to learn more. When you constantly learn and genuinely learn, it helps your ability to learn again. So I definitely try to just learn new things that are, of course, useful so that I can learn even more.
Definitely. And I know you take the strategy of you don't listen to music very much, and when you drive in silence.
Yep.
And it gives you much time to think.
Yes. Yeah. You have some, at first it's jarring because you're just used to it all the time. You want that beat, you want that rhythm, but then you get into the thoughts that you don't want to have. But then you get to experience and process your emotions. I think that's a big part of being a man as well, because there's this big conversation going on. Should men do this? Should men do this? Whatever. At least we should be able to process our emotions. And I don't think we don't give ourselves enough time to be able to do that anymore. And so that's also a way for me to process what's going on in my life. And when I get out of the car to a listing presentation, when I get out of the car and I need to have a genuine conversation with someone, I'm ready. I'm not freaking out about this, that, or the other thing. So I think it's a great way, especially being a real estate agent, spending so much time in the car. You get to just experience yourself and learn what's going on up there. Yeah.
Not only that, but I myself just doing Exodus 90, obviously not allowed to listen to any music other than spiritual or religious music.
Yep.
And what I've found, obviously, because we've had Easter, we're just doing Easter 50 now, but a lot of the disciplines are relaxed. What I've realized is how much of an impact music has on your thought process and just your decisions in general, what you think's okay and what's not okay. And, I myself used to listen to a lot of rap, and I just can't anymore, because you also having that break from music, and also my love for reading now and being able to deep dive into words a lot more, into their meanings. You listen to the lyrics of songs and it's just, a lot of it's disgusting.
Yeah.
And it's a no-brainer why society it is, why crime's on the rise, why women are getting treated such ways. It's the lyrics to music.
Yep.
Because the power of music is just astronomical.
Yeah. And Maddie, Maddie was talking to us about it, and think about what music does. It gets you going, it gets you moving, 100%. And it really makes you want to do certain things. And so if that music, and sure, it's a little wacky, if I was talking about this 5 years ago, whatever, I think it's extremely wacky, but it genuinely gets you to do certain things. And so if that music, if that content is graphic and inappropriate, and it just makes you that much more susceptible to doing something really bad. I think that's what we're seeing now. It's just normalizing crap things. Me personally, I've been working on how much I swear, because I just, when I hear it, I just cringe a bit now. I just can't. And funnily enough, it's the same way I look at Family Guy. I used to love that show. When I was a teenager, I would watch that and it was hilarious. But I revisited it, watching something with a mate, and I just can't do it. The way that they represent certain people and the jokes are just abhorrent. It's horrible, and I can't listen to it. I can't have that in my head.
Definitely the biggest eye-opener for me was when I did our first episode on Manifest last year. It was literally probably a year ago, 2 weeks prior to this. But there was a lot of, not so much backlash, but almost like the comments on it was even myself about how much I swore. And I guess another thing that has a massive impact on our lives is our environment. Me coming from a background of carpentry and being around tradies, and also being Australian, just putting that in one big pot and stirring it together just mixes up. You just swear, they're not even swear words, they're just words. Like
It's nothing. It just happens.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the danger.
That was the biggest eye opener for me, when the only thing that was coming to people's mind was how much I swore. And at first I was very arrogant towards it. And I was like, all these people just going against me, like no one wants to support
Hating on me. Yep.
And another thing that I've really been working on is stop being a victim. Stop feeling the need to be a victim. Like everyone's against me. Like, bro, you're just doing it to yourself, man. And that was the biggest thing for me, was one, to stop being a victim, and two, how much I swore, because it's disgusting.
Yeah.
And yes, the odd one slips out then and there, and it's not the end of the world, and it's not the most terrible thing, but when it's very consistent, it can get quite disturbing, and something that's, looking back now, like it's something I'm quite ashamed of how much I used to swear.
Yeah.
But my environment had a massive impact on that, because growing up I never swore. I probably started swearing a little bit here and there, probably later years in high school, and then just starting my apprenticeship, it just exploded.
I mean, you say this all the time. You know, you hang out with 5 idiots, you're going to be the 6th. So if your environment is like that, well, then you're going to be extremely susceptible to being the 6th idiot. So you just need to remove yourself from that environment. And it can be very difficult. I found this as well, you know, cutting off certain people because they're just not good for you. They're just not good.
It's crazy, eh? That was another thing for me growing up. I felt like the more friends, the better. But my mindset's completely switched.
Yeah.
You literally only need anywhere between 2 to 5 people.
Yep. I've got my brothers. I've got my brothers and a couple boys. Like that's it. You know, that's the team. That's the team.
That's all you need.
Yeah. You don't need much. They're just such high quality people. And I'd do anything for them. And I want that to be the same way. You don't want to be around people that would sell you out to get with a chick, that would sell you out for a couple $100. Like that's insane to me. So I just don't be around those people.
I feel like a lot of young men in Australia are struggling with that. You know, they get stuck in the going out scene every weekend, or three times every weekend, which is just crazy.
Yeah.
And a lot of them don't have any other way. Like they're so dependent on those people, and they feel like without them they'll be lonely.
Yeah, that's exactly right. If you look at the alternative, or at least the perceived alternative, that's loneliness. That's, you know, being at home playing video games for hours on end, you know, saying, "Shut up, mom." You know, all this crap, just treating people like crap. That's what they look at as the negative, being in the basement. You know, they always say that, you know, you still live with your mum. But there is other pathways. There are so many other things that you can do and live a whole, and you don't even have to do it necessarily with God. You can be a good person. You're intentional. You're intentional, and you need to want to get better.
I definitely recommend that. Just find something, whether it be real estate or just anything where it's going to be a struggle, but you're going to grow from it.
Yeah. I genuinely believe that men need more struggles. I think we have it way too easy. And that's why people are, again, going into video games, you know, watching all this really bad stuff.
It's easy dopamine.
That's right. And we're training ourselves to not want the long process, to not want to work for it. And unfortunately, it just means that the people that are going to be that much better off. And that sucks, because I don't think we should have a belief of limited wealth. I have an abundance mindset. You need to believe that everybody can have it. And I genuinely believe that. And if you're not going to look for struggles, the right struggles, don't go become addicted to meth. Yeah, like that's a struggle. Yeah. But go work hard. Go find your passion. And with those passions, there's always going to be difficult things. So do them. That's a lot of fun. It is genuinely a lot of fun.
And for you yourself, that's just the basic stuff like letterbox dropping.
That's right. I hate them. I hate them. You can learn to love them, but I don't want it. If you hate something, and you still do it, man, you just become a stronger person. And so just learn to do things that you don't like, that are still good for you. That's the important thing, that are still good for you, because a lot of these things that feel good are not good for us. They are really bad. So don't do them, and do the beneficial things.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we'll wrap it up there, brother. Appreciate your time.
Thanks so much for having me. This was interesting. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get cancelled, so that's good.
Yeah. Awesome, brother. God bless you. And
you too, man. Thanks heaps.